Morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live here on a Friday. As it appears, many of you know already based on the chat, but in case any of you have not heard, um, we lost our dear friend Matt Vrzal yesterday. And as you can imagine, it's been a really difficult last 24 hours or so. Not quite that long, I guess. And as you can imagine, that's why Damon's not here this morning. They were as close as two people can be. It feels almost cheap to just call them friends. They were, I'm sure, would have described each other as family. There's a lot of you expressing your condolences in the chat, which we very much appreciate. There's I found it really interesting as people started to find out last night that, and I think it really speaks to who Verz was as a person, that people who only knew him through our show or other shows or through Piezons feel the heartbreak that they do about his passing. I was lucky to know him a little bit better than that. Certainly not as well as DB. But the thing that I kept coming back to and actually it's the thing I've thought about a lot about Verz since the time I've known him, is he was always kinder to me and better to me than he had any reason to be. And that's pretty unusual in people. There was literally nothing I could offer him except for friendship and occasionally buying pizzas from him. And he was always, beneath his tough exterior, he was always incredibly kind and incredibly good to me. And I'm not unique or special. That's how he treated people. And I think that's why people are reacting the way they are this morning and last night as they find out. He was as good of a hearted person as I think I've been around. Lots of things that people didn't even know about that he would just do and not tell anyone about. Just a good guy. I know for a long time Piezons did days where they would just donate a portion of their proceeds to different charities, and that's just who he was. He was a incredibly unique person, and he'll obviously be very, very missed, not just by me, not just by DB, but by everybody who came into contact with him in even the smallest or largest ways. You could see the outpouring of love and sadness from his teammates last night on various internet platforms as they found out the news. Obviously, my immediate thoughts and heart and concerns go out to Verz's family, and that includes DB. DB's been through way too many of these recently, and my heart breaks for him, and it breaks for everybody that knew and loved Verz. He was a teddy bear is a really good way to describe him. Somebody said that yesterday to me. He looked really tough, and he was really tough, but just a kind, good-hearted man. And there were several things that I admired about him, and one of them was that he was authentically and unapologetically himself. That's something I really, really value in people, and he was that to an absolute T. he was also one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life, which is something I admire because sometimes I wish I had more of that. Um, he seemed to have boundless energy for work and still had energy to help the people that were around him whenever he could as well. Um, he will be dearly, dearly missed by anyone who came in contact with him. So, if you haven't heard yet, I am sorry to be the one to break that news to you. Um, but uh, just Matt Vrzal did pass away yesterday at the age of 51. Um, I don't really know what this show is going to be like, if I'm being honest with you. We're going to try and do somewhat of a normal show. If people want to talk about Verz, they absolutely can. If But other than that, we're going to try and do a normal show. I don't really know what else to do. I didn't go to broadcast school anyway, but I don't think they teach this, even if I did. Um, so we're going to take a break here in a minute and basically start the show over and do, like Headley said, I think do the thing that Verz would want us to do, and that's to talk football today. So that is we're going to come back here in a minute and basically just start the show over. But tell the people that you love them. There's no telling that what tomorrow brings, and you'll regret it if you don't. So we'll take a couple minutes here to kind of regroup and restart the show, and we'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Live. Mike, I know this is a super tough day and a super tough ask of you. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. I want to have some fun. Because that's what Matt was all about. So I was gonna start just by coming in here and saying, "What's up, fuckers?" Because that's what he said every week. And yeah. I also, if you guys don't mind, I have an extra grease board because Matt liked his grease board.
Yeah.
So I would like to do something like this. It says Vrzal words you can't say on the radio.
Perfect. I'm in, Mike. Let's go. Let's roll.
So this is a very too big grease board for this area. But I have red and then I have green. Green means go. So those are like the words you can say and the words you can't say. So we're going to start with fuckers because he liked to say that. And I was just looking back, obviously, through text messages and Father's Day, he sent in our group chat with me and Damon on Father's Day, he said, let's go with exclamation marks. And he said, Happy Father's Day, fuckers. And like with exclamation marks. So we're going to go with fuckers because you can't say that on the radio. And my handwriting sucks. So
it's a good thing we're not on.
What other Vrzal words did he say that you can't actually say on live radio?
Get your shit together.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Shit together. Okay. Shit. I think to be quite honest, knowing Vrzal, he hated like entitled people and kids.
Yeah.
And hated them. And he also was like, oh, like with all the consternation that's going on with high school football now and the scoring and stuff, he would just say, get better. Like he would just say, just get better, coach harder, do whatever, just be better. And that's obviously something that he would do and say. He also, every time that I went into his I won't call it shop. He just knew what the order was. Like it just he knew like I'm a basic bitch when it comes to eating food. I eat like a 12-year-old, and he just knew I wanted uh, just beef pizza and nothing else. And then I remember the last time I was there was last week, and he was there, but someone else was helping me, and he said, "Hey," uh, I asked him. I said, "What, like the wings? What do I get? Like, what is the what? I don't know what they're called, but I get them like this way." And he just knew it, and he just told the person that was helping me. He's like, "Yeah, they're just buffalo, baked buffalo. Like, just he just knew what I liked." And I didn't even know what I liked, but he knew what I liked, and he knew that with everybody. So that's something too. Okay, I want to finish out this word thing, and I don't really even remember. So Shane, if you got some drops, that'd be great. You could help me out here, big dog. Well, little dog, because you're not really big.
He he would always get on DB about Damon obviously not wanting to swear, but then he would
Right.
be, "Oh, but you can say this," but instead went
Fudge.
that. And I believe Jason put that in there. And great, now my mom's gonna be mad at me, but I believe one of them was cocksucker.
Yes, he said cocksucker. Yeah. Yeah, he did. That was you can't say that on the radio.
Called people dicks.
Yep.
Called people
You're
dicks.
a dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
called everyone a dick. Yeah. He also, I'm gonna put this on there because this is my memory of him, is he'd he always called me Mikey, and I hate that. Like I can't stand that. And he's the only person in the world that I allow to call me Mikey. And he just, I just kind of did. I don't know why I let him do it, but he did. And it was, why I hate it is because remember, well, you guys weren't alive probably, but the Mikey Likes It commercials, Austin, you definitely weren't alive.
Yeah.
And when I grew up, all my aunts and uncles they called me Mikey all the time. It drove me nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put that you can't say that on the radio because no one ever should call me that because I'll take major offense. So these are just the red words. I don't think we're gonna get to green because he's yeah. Chicken shit was another one he would say a
Yep.
lot. So you
Yes.
can't say that on the radio. This board is very heavy, by the way, with one hand.
I think you're
So
doing great.
yeah, it's very big. Look at this thing; it's huge.
I know we might make a more economically sized one for the word list.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just what I had sitting around. So, but no, that's good. This is my ode to my friend and to all of our friend, Matt Vrzal, who is one of the best humans. Just one of the best guys ever. And just meant a lot to a lot of people. He was a special, special human and everybody's friend and treated everyone with respect. Even if you like barely knew him and if you didn't know him, like you knew he was joking with you. And I will say that I know Damon and Matt were like best friends. And I'm so sorry for that because they talked all the time, every day. And it's just, he meant a lot to a lot of people. Uh, and he I don't know, like there's stories, and I called people last night and talked to just people in the Scott community and how much he meant to just that community of people. And no matter, Scott gets shit on all the time, and but they're good people, and they work hard and care about kids. And yes, they care about winning, and it's important. And but this is just a story about Matt, and this was like yesterday. Scott's art teacher was doing an art project, and she wanted new pizza boxes and non-greasy ones or used ones, and she wanted like 40. And so they called up there, and Matt had them ready for them to pick up like within the hour for free, just because like he's just helping. I will say that I learned a lot about football from Matt. Him and I just had talks all the time about I'd call and we just chat, and he taught me a ton. I'd go to, when he was coaching at Scud, I'd go to practice and I'd just hang out with the linemen because I wanted to see him coach. And he always had, he never had the biggest linemen, but they were always tough as shit. And that's because Matt Vrzal was tough as shit. Just a great, great man. And he was, I know like Damon's daughter, Zoe, and there's other kids like that, like my kids. We'd go in there and he would just make my kids light up and want to give them high fives and hugs. And we always just called him Uncle Matt. Because that's who he was to a lot of just our kids, like our, his friends' kids. And, I know, again, I know like Damon spent a lot of time there. Zoe, Damon's kids, same way. Like he just treated everyone so good. And he'd have like ice cream sandwiches for kids, and like they look forward to it. And we'd go there and eat for lunch, me and my even like we just stop in, and I'd tell my kids, hey, you guys want to go to Matt's? And it wasn't Piezon's, it was Matt's Pizza Place. That's what my kids called it. Let's go to Matt's. Let's go to Matt's Pizza Place. And we just stop in. We'd be out doing something, and just let's swing by Matt's. But first, you had to make sure his stupid red and black blazer was there, sitting there, because if it wasn't, he wasn't there. But I will tell you what, about 9 times out of 10, he was always there. And we wouldn't even go in if he was, if he wasn't, I don't see his truck, he's probably not there. And then you call him and he'd say, well, I'm not there, or I'll be back there in a little bit, or I'm doing something, I'll be out there in a minute, or whatever. And I know the people that worked for him really cared about him. And I just feel for those people, because they counted on him to obviously like feed their family and pay rent and do stuff like that. So I don't know what the future holds for that place, but if it stays going, it won't be the same. And it was because of Matt. And yeah, he's a special guy. So anyway, all right, let's talk about something else. Because I will tell you what, Matt Vrzal would want me just to work. So that he would say, quit feeling sorry for me and yourself and all that, and just go to work. So,
we do appreciate you being vulnerable with us and sharing that about Verz, your friend. And I think a lot of people identify, especially people who have been to Piezons, identify with what you're talking about, whether they really knew him well or not. I'll just say a couple things here while I give you a minute. There was a couple times I'd go in there and especially if it wasn't too busy, he'd sit down and just talk to people while they're eating, right? He'd just sit down and go from table to table. And a couple times I would ask, like, oh, how do you know them? And he'd be like, oh, I don't. They just come in sometimes. And he'd sit there and he'd talk for 15, 20, however long he had, right? And just with people that he didn't really know, even except for they took the time to come to his place. And I thought that always said a lot. And then one thing that's always really stuck out to me, and this is years ago at this point, um, I went in there for dinner one day, and he wasn't in there. And I got a text from him about 10, 15 minutes after I had left, and he said, hey, man, my staff just told me you were in here. I'm sorry I missed you. And, like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to work all the time. Like, he didn't have to,
yeah,
I was just it. I said it earlier. He was just always better to people than he had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best way I can sum up at least my experiences with Verz.
Yeah, I don't have as close to stories as you guys have, but I was one of those strangers that would walk into Piezons, right, just randomly, and I'd met him in person a couple of times. I always thought it was really cool when I would see him either at Scut games covering something that he would point at me and he would say, "You're one of Damon's guys," and I always thought that might be a bad thing, but I'll the very first time I was ever at Piezons and I met him was after I was at KRVN and I had drove up from Lexington to cover a Lexington Scut boys basketball game that was at Scut. And the Scut basketball coach actually told me to go to Piezons after because I had called him for pregame and he was like, "No, this is what we always do. Like, it's a long trip for you. Whatever, we'll get you pizza."
Mm-hmm.
And Verz immediately knew that I was not one of the Scut guys and was just like, "What's this guy doing here?" So he sat down next to me and he said, are you going back tonight? And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I'm not going to let you drink on the way." So he gave me a beer there. The other time that I met him was actually when my now fiance and I first moved to Omaha in July last year. And we, of course, knew about Piezons. I had it before from that first experience. And we went out and we were just going to do a regular date night, have a good time. It was kind of a slower night on like a Thursday or Friday night. And our server, whatever, just, kind of forgot about us or whatever the case was. Verz walked over to us. We didn't even notice that, we were just hanging out, doing our thing. We didn't even notice that, like, an order hadn't gotten put in. We hadn't gotten food or whatever. And he just comes over and he goes, "You guys gotten your food yet? What'd you order?" We tell him and he just goes, "Don't worry about it. Like, I got you covered. Sorry it was so long." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, not a problem. Whatever." He came back, handed it, and he goes, "You will tip." And again, just that cool. I think the one thing being like the producer for the show and hearing what Verz had to do, and I think my experience is very similar to what a lot of people in the chat, what a lot of other people, you may not know how to feel, right? Because it's a loss of our community, right? Like, it's a loss of high school football. It's a loss of Nebraska football. It's a loss of the Omaha community. It's for I didn't know he was a 308 guy. I didn't know he was a Grand Island guy. I found out from a friend in Grand Island that he was going to go back for like the 100th anniversary of something like middle school game or something like that. Yeah, so all cool stuff. But Verz was always Verz, and he was always authentic. And that's what I learned from listening to the show here, from other shows that he had done. That was the thing that I thought was always the coolest part about him when, like, thinking about what do I have to say about him in this moment. And the one thing that, like, again, I didn't know him that well. You guys had great personal memories with him. If you're going to take anything from what Matt Vrzal's life was, just be authentic and be yourself, because that's who Verz was. He was never anything. He never proclaimed himself to be an expert on the offensive line or an expert of Nebraska football, but everyone wanted to hear what he had to say because he was just going to tell you how it was. And when people would talk to him about high school football and when he would do broadcasts, it wasn't like other broadcasters. It wasn't like other people that would go up and do games in the booth. And Mike, I'm sure you agree that he probably didn't coach like other coaches would coach because he was he just did it way.
He every year, again, back through text, just memory stuff, and did that last night. And since COVID year, he called high school state championship games, and he wanted to be so prepared. I'm telling you, like weeks out, he'd text me, "Hey, do you have this coach's number? I think or who do you think's going to be in the 8-man, finals?" And I want to just start watching them, and I want to start learning, what they do, and get their huddle tape if I can. And then he'd be like, "Do you have this coach's number? This coach's number? This coach's number? Because I want to go." What he did was he went to their practice to watch them practice before he called their game. And I mean, like, it didn't matter where in the state he went to watch their practice. So he knew and was educated enough to know what they ran and what they like to do, and met the coaches and did all of that. I mean, that's a different level of like professionalism, if you will, or homework. And one more thing with him is he texts me. I guess I sent this guy to you. So Verz and I, obviously Damon is the connection there, and for me, and we have followed each other or been back to back on sports talk radio in this state for years, probably a decade. And he always said, I guess through the years we talked about it, we always said we'll get to the guts of the conversation, but we also want to make it fun and entertaining for the listeners and viewers and people that do it. So there was very much so intentionality to his appearances and things that he did. Yes, it was just naturally him with the jokes and the quips and things like that. And I learned from him on that. And that's why sometimes I get a little off the rails on this show. And it's because it's entertainment, and we want people to be entertained, and we want it to be fun. And I can't tell you the number of times that I'm at a game or the grocery store or whatever, and they said, "Man, that hour with you and Verz is so much fun." And it's fun. Like we should be having fun doing this, and obviously not being on over the air anymore. We can have a little more fun because we like to say words that aren't appropriate for FCC or whatever that is. So, but it's entertainment, and it's entertaining, and that's what it is. And for those high school people, I had a crazy idea one time, and Austin, you know what it is because you're the producer of this show now. It was I had an idea about doing a post game show, like wrapping up high school football on a Friday night every Friday, and this was when I worked for the World Herald, and I took it. I brought the idea to my bosses at the World Herald, and they shot it down real hard. And then I was like, well, where else can we do this? How else can we do this? Let's do this. The first ever Nebraska Preps postgame show was at Piezon's on a Friday night after football. And it was me and Damon in his shop. And there was a lot of people, like, because I think Scud had a home game that night, but there was a ton of people there. And I remember Pat was there, and I think Sasha maybe even was there too. But we set up this thing. We just, okay, let's turn this into something. The first ever one, and this is 5 years ago, 6 years, I don't even know when, but it was a long time ago, was at Matt's, because I just was like, I want to do this. I think it's cool. I think it's a great idea. And it just went, like, the lights were out. We were in the little closet thing, like before you go to the bathroom. in his area, and it was Damon and I. And we were sitting there, and like we didn't know anything. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know anything about it. And now it's turned into like a decently popular, I would say, podcast for us anyway. I only did it the one time because I got told I couldn't do it anymore when I worked other place. After they saw that I did it that one time, they told me I can't do it anymore. So, but yeah, it's just things like that, like crazy ideas. And then even after I left the World Herald, I went back, on my own, and Verz like didn't spend money on advertising at all. But that's how I was feeding my family at the time. And I had another, random idea, and I went to him with it, and I said, "Hey, like, it's going to be this much. Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think about this idea?" And he's like, "Well, I'll do it this way and whatever." And he goes, "I got you. I'm in for it. Like, I'll do it." I said, "Okay." And like, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was, I think it was like $1,000 for like something. And, he's like, didn't blink at it because he knew that like, that's how I was supporting my family, and he just wanted to help. So yeah.
Before we close out the show, I just wanted to say a big thank you to, I know it's been mentioned in the chat as well, from Sautter, from you. I know DB will have his time when he's ready. Also, thank you to Shane. Got here early this morning. Shane was here early as well, earlier than I was, and just sharing a little bit back and forth. I know that this is something that doesn't get to happen very often, but you don't usually get to share you don't get to tell people their flowers when they're still around, usually, right? It usually happens far too late. And Verz, from what I can tell from everyone that has shared stories, whether it's through comments, online, social media, from what we've heard this morning and beyond, that Verz was he was virtuous in that sense, that it felt like no matter where he was or what he was doing, he was always able to share those stories and share those flowers. And I'm really glad that everyone is able to share, and now the Verz community, and be able to know kind of what's going on in that sense, and be able to get a sense of who he was as a person, who he was as all that stuff. So I appreciate the ability of everyone to be vulnerable, whether it's you, Ravi, Sautter, Shane, Damon when he returns, and everyone moving forward, that it's important that we share these. And it's important also as men in 2025 that we can do this. So it wouldn't have been possible without Verz. And as tough as that is, I do appreciate all of you guys being able to do that. So it gives people like me, who only knew him from certain senses and certain availabilities, or from different mediums, different forms, a better sense of who he was. And the last thing that I'll say before I hand it over to you is one of my favorite memories is actually going to the Shrine Bowl like regularly, like throughout the years. I'll be honest, I don't even know why I'm getting so emotional. I think it's just because of like everything else that you guys have shared. But riding down to Kansas City with Damon for that Arrowhead Stadium game and taking him down, I told Damon that day that I was like, one of the coolest stories I've ever heard you and Verz talk about on air was your Shrine Bowl experience, and how important that was for your guys' friendship and what you built, and how you became friends and Huskers and lifelong friends after that. Just the power of the ability of people to meet from different walks of life, to be able to connect over something as dumb as a game of football, right? I think Verz is a perfect just mesh of all of that. And just being able to hear that story from Damon before any of this ever happened, and being able to hear that from you guys has just been, it's been very awe-inspiring. So thank you for doing that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Austin. As we were trying to figure out what and how to do for the show today, I felt very strongly that it didn't feel right to have anybody else in Matt Vrzal's time slot this week. That includes myself or Austin. As we kind of wrap up the show, as we remember Verz, as we mourn and grieve and lament the loss of a friend. You mentioned it's hard for people, especially men, to receive their flowers while they're still alive. That's something DB talks about all the time. I mentioned it in the first hour that he's gone through far too many of these, especially recently. So he knows that. in a very, very real and unfortunately practical sense in his own life. I will say, I said it before, tell the people you love that you love them. It doesn't matter that it's weird. Make it weird. Tell them why you love them. Tell them why you care about them. Tell them what you appreciate about them. It is 100% worth it all the time. No matter how they react in the moment, I guarantee you that it means something to them. Even somebody like myself, who is definitely on the more sensitive side than a guy like Verz was,
Right.
They'll appreciate it too, even if they make fun of you a little bit in the moment. It's worth it. Tell people you love them. Make it weird. As we wrap the show up today, we wanted to leave you with one last little gift from Verz. A little compilation that Shane and Rico put together of some of our favorite Verz moments over the years. So for one last time, here's Matt Vrzal.
Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
What's up, fuckers?
Wow.
But that's a great motivator. If you don't want to get smoked again, guess what you're going to do next time? You're going to do a better job of assessing that blitz and hit the hot route.
If you like all your fingers pointing in the same direction.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. You don't want to look like Ray Nitschke when you point at the camera. You're going to throw that thing next time. You don't want Chuck Bednarik hand. You're going to let that baby rip.
Wow.
All right,
if you want to point north and your fingers facing west, that's a you problem. One of the funnest things I've ever done in football was we were in Malcolm, and love Malcolm. I will ride or die for the clip joint all my whole life. First one's free because coaches will lie to you.
Yeah,
Damon, you can agree with me on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah, man, we're going to bring you in. You're going to be getting started playing time right away, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You and everybody else we just told that to. Come on in.
Yeah.
I'm never going to leave here. Me and you are going to be here for 5 years together.
Yeah.
Here's your other thing, though. You got to hope that shit show on the west side of Lincoln ain't bad with dumbasses driving.
Oh, the part that's like 65 for a little bit and it sneaks up on you?
Semis. It is just a breeding ground for left laners. The people that don't know, get your slow ass in the right lane. Here's the thing of it, though. There ain't but one way to find that out.
Got to do it.
I got to put that sumbitch in the game.
Yeah.
And, lean and mean Matt Rule trying to, dude, bro, save some for the rest of us. I mean, God, you're just out there jacked and yoked. Get off the testosterone replacement, bro. What are we doing here? The 1995 team is one of the few relevant things left about your program. So, hey, maybe instead of saying from 5 to 7, we will tolerate you. Okay? Maybe you let us leave when we want to leave.
Wow.
How about that? How about you try that on? Okay? Like 5 to 7. You could spare 2 hours for us. Great. I know you got to prep. I know you got to get ready for a big game day next day. Guess what? Your cleaning crews get paid American money. So you will tell them when they work. And if they don't like it, then you get rid of them and you get another cleaning company. I had a guy who was over in District 66. They would take that job.
Hey, time for team coaching, baby. Let's go.
Your wife, one of the more well-mannered people around, says please.
It's all relative.
And you just assume. Like your sons both say please.
After this segment you had, I
don't.
couldn't muster it. I'm sorry.
Your beautiful mother, who you don't bring into Piezons, which is rude.
Yeah.
She says please.
Hey, this is what's up. And if you want to change it, here's how you can change it. And so when you can go through those steps and you can do those things, then I think it helps a lot. And if you're a competitor, you take that information and you just harness and you get to work and you get yourself back in the game. And there's more of a sense of pride once you are back there. Like, they told me I sucked at this, but I fixed that, and now I'm back in the game. So that's the psychological side of it that I like.
Thank you, fuckers, for having me on.